to nuclear power as a sign of the Non-Proliferation Treaty, but should not have nuclear weapons. By the same overwhelming majority, Americans and Iranians agree that the whole region should be a weapons-free zone, nuclear weapons-free zone. That includes Iran, Israel, and any American forces deployed there. Even higher percent of Americans, over 80%, believe that the United States should live up to its requirement, actually legal requirement under the Non-Proliferation Treaty, and move to eliminate all of its nuclear weapons. The same percentage think there should be no threats against Iran, just entering into normal relations. Well, that's the population. You can't find a viable candidate, that's percentage of the viable candidates. Every one of them says we should continue with the threats of war against Iran. It's the meaning of all options are on the table. If anybody cares, the threats themselves are major violations of international law. The UN Charter rules bars any threat or use of force. But that's okay, we can all be criminals. That's the political class. That's the discussion in the media, and so on. It's not the population. The population is there, can be organized. And the same is true of confronting the system of corporate power at home. Something that was almost unimaginable in the 1960s, but it's taking place now in many ways. And in fact, it arises very clearly on what has long been the main domestic issue in the United States for the population, for very good reasons, which I don't have to bother talking about. The main concern of people at home here for a long time has been the healthcare system, which is a total catastrophe. And they have opinions about it. Like a large majority of the population for decades has been in favor of national health care. Something like extending, say, Medicare to the whole population, which would be far more efficient. But that has never even arisen in a political campaign. As recently as 2004, it was even mentioned. It was both politically impossible, meaning it doesn't matter how much the population wants it. The insurance companies are against it. The pharmaceutical companies are against it. So it's politically impossible. Well, that's not true anymore. By now, there's enough popular pressure and other reasons so that candidates have to at least say something about it. Maybe not the right things, but something. There's again a population ready to be organized, ready to understand that the issue is not just a rotten healthcare system, but it's corporate control of a rotten healthcare system.